Hunter Biden faces brand new federal charges. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Hunter Biden facing brand new federal charges related to some tax issues from just a few years ago. Now, this is a very interesting story for quite a few reasons. Before we get into just how much he is alleged to have not paid or paid late or tried to not pay, before we get into that, let's back up. Remember, there was a plea deal on the table for him to get off with no penalty. And in this plea deal, you had tax charges, gun charges, everything. This was probably the most sweetheart deal I've ever seen in my entire life. However, when the brave judge, Mariela Noriega, saw the deal that they wanted her to sign, she was like, y'all want me to sign this? And got gun charges and tax charges. Things were in that plea deal that if you or I were to get charged with just one of those things, we'd go straight to the penitentiary, big rocks, little rocks. But because it's Hunter Biden, he was going to get off. The judge said, nope, I'm not going to sign off on that. So the plea deal fell apart, and that opened a can of worms. And the same guy, David Weiss, who was behind crafting the plea deal, is now on a special counsel to prosecute Hunter Biden. And they got the gun charges in there, and now we're bringing in the tax charges. And since the plea deal fell apart, and it was seen as a sweetheart deal, and it was seen as them just trying to make excuses for the president's son, now he's got to lay the hammer. And the question is, will he get convicted of this before the 2024 presidential election? Before I go any further, let's go ahead and get into the news clip. If you want to see this clip in full without my commentary, link as always will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit a link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
This morning, a dramatic escalation of the criminal investigation into Hunter Biden, the president's son, now accused of a criminal scheme of tax fraud. A new indictment charging Biden with failing to pay his taxes on time and instead spending millions of dollars on an extravagant lifestyle.
Let's pause right here. Now, I thought the tax charges were for just not paying, like tax evasion. That's what I thought it was. But now we're talking about tax fraud. That's a little bit different, although in the same category. All these charges that he's facing could land him in the penitentiary, like I said, big rocks, little rocks. If you or I got charged with anything that he's being accused of, it would have been a wrap a long time ago, for sure.
A federal jury in Los Angeles indicting Hunter Biden on 9 counts, including 3 felonies. The 56-page indictment saying Biden earned millions in income between 2016 and 2020. But the defendant spent this money on drugs, escorts, and girlfriends, luxury hotels and rental properties, exotic cars, clothing, and other items of a personal nature.
In short, everything but his taxes. So that's where the fraud comes in. It's like, okay, you're not paying your taxes, but you're spending your money on this over here and that over there, and you're earning millions of dollars. How does this crackhead earn millions of dollars? Where's money coming from? We're talking about some of these things he had, like Burisma Holdings, the 10 for the big guy. How is he earning this much money? Let's keep on going.
In short, everything but his taxes. Prosecutors laying out a devastating portrait of Hunter Biden creating false business deductions. In one example, prosecutors alleging that Biden wired an employee money and labeled it a golf member deposit, when according to prosecutors, it was used to purchase a membership in a sex club.
Wow.
These latest charges all part of the investigation led by special counsel David Weiss. Weiss's team brought federal gun charges against Biden in Delaware back in September. Hunter Biden attorney Abby Lowell said in a statement that if the president's son's last name was anything other than Biden, the charges in Delaware and now in California would not have been brought.
Oh, man, come on. Be for real. Be serious. I mean, look. The gun charges, they may not explain what happened with the gun charges in this video, but I'll explain it to you. So Hunter Biden, we all know, is a crackhead or was a crackhead. At one point, he partook in crack smoking as a hobby. Now, if you want to buy a gun, you cannot be a crack smoker. That's illegal. If you pass a background check and you're a crack smoker, that means you lied on your background check because you cannot have used any kind of drugs like that, and you cannot be under the influence of these drugs and possess a weapon. That is illegal under the Brady Act, which, by the way, Hunter Biden's father, Joe Biden, was instrumental in passing in 1993. Okay, so you're lying on the background check, number one, because you are a crackhead. You can't be a drug addict buying a weapon. And then you possess the weapon while being under the influence of drugs. You can't do that. That's also a crime. And then you dispose of the weapon illegally behind a school somewhere in Delaware where you live. So all those things are gun charges that anybody would get sent to the penitentiary for. If his last name wasn't Biden, he would have already been in prison for these things. And then you add on the tax charges, tax evasion, tax fraud. We've seen celebrities go to prison for things like this. Fat Joe, Wesley Snipes. And then you have insider trading like Martha Stewart, other people. We're talking about financial crimes, taxes, things of this nature. They are taken very seriously, and it can land you behind bars. The only reason why, again, he's not is because his name is Hunter Biden. But we're going to see if these new charges are going to actually stick and if he goes to prison. Let's keep on going.
President Joe Biden is not mentioned in this new indictment, but the allegations are sure to kick up a political firestorm. The president has held firm in his support of his son in the past.
First of all, my son's done nothing wrong.
The president now facing the possibility of his son going to trial in two places in the midst of his re-election bid.
Yep.
So, Laura, I mean, there was this plea deal. It fell apart. Now here we are. Is there any chance that another plea deal could come along, or is this definitely going to trial?
There's always a chance. I don't want to rule that out, but it just seems that they've now reached that juncture where the two sides are too far apart. And if you think about it, really, Biden has lost his leverage. Now it's sort of all out in the open. And the idea that this is actually going to go to trial, we've heard some of the evidence now. Those are witnesses. They're going to have to come and testify in open court. And remember, this case, obviously about tax fraud, it would be different if it was a situation where it was somebody who was broke and down on the luck. They have all this evidence of all the money that he was making. It was not as if he didn't have the money. He just didn't pay his taxes. He eventually did pay it back, but prosecutors obviously say that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because, like I was talking about a little while ago, Fat Joe. Fat Joe is a prime example. Okay, matter of fact, I'm going to just leave this right here, and I'll link to that video in the description. You see what's going on with your main man, Hunter Biden. 9 charges, federal charges, 6 misdemeanors, 3 felonies, all tax related, which are going to go on top of the existing gun charges that came from the failed plea deal. Fat Joe, he trusted, I believe, a financial advisor or somebody to file taxes and pay taxes for him. He'd give him the money and say, okay, I want you to do X, Y, and Z, this, that, and the third. Make sure I'm compliant. Okay. What happened was the guy's son became a paraplegic from an accident. So the money that Fat Joe was giving him, he was taking, and rather than paying Fat Joe's taxes, he would take care of his son with that money. Okay. Now, Fat Joe gets a call from the IRS saying, hey, man, what's going on? You've not paid your taxes. Yes, I have. I've given my man some money. You didn't pay it. You trusted him, but you didn't pay. Now, he eventually did pay the money back, but he still went to prison because of the tax evasion, failing to pay your taxes, failing to file, or whatever the case was. Although it wasn't his fault, ultimately, it's your responsibility. He did everything right. He was paying the guy, making sure he was compliant, but the guy stole from him. So he went to prison. So if you go to prison because a guy stole from you and didn't pay the tax that you paid on to pay, then why would Hunter Biden not go to prison when he was willfully just refusing to pay his taxes and spending money on escorts and drugs and things of this nature? And you have a weapon illegally that you lied on your background check to purchase, and you were using drugs while handling the weapon on videotape. What more is necessary for somebody to go to prison? Again, you or I would go to prison on much less than what they're trying to negotiate with this guy. But as I close, I want to say this. I hope he goes to prison because people have gone to prison for less. And you can't just get away with things because your name is Biden or your name is whatever. That's not the way it should be. It shouldn't be this 2 or 3 tier system of justice. And if we have that kind of thing going on, then at what point are we like a banana republic? Are we a first world country anymore? And then the things people say about the U.S. and the justice system and law enforcement and judges, these things now all of a sudden kind of become true. Oh, it's unfair in the U.S. It's racist. It's this. It's that. All this does, if he's able to get a slap on the wrist at best, is just add more fuel to that fire. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on this whole Hunter Biden kerfuffle? Should he go to the penitentiary? Should he not go to the penitentiary? Are they picking on him because his last name is Biden? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. He most certainly should go to prison because he's doing things willfully. It's not just like a mistake. Okay, you bought your weapon. You know full well with the gun. Your dad crafted the very law that you violated. The Brady Act, you violated that. That's your dad's law. You don't know about gun laws. You don't know what you're supposed to do. You don't know that smoking crack is not legal. Okay. You don't know about paying taxes. You are sending money to people, labeling it as one thing when it's really something else, talking about, oh, it's a golf deposit, but really you're buying a sex club membership. I'm not trying to hear any excuses. Lock this guy up. And if you don't lock him up, then just free all the prisoners, because there's a lot of guys and girls who are in jail for much less than what this guy allegedly has done. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.